So our first speaker is Dr. Kuo. He is an associate professor in the counseling and counselor education programs at Michigan State University. His research centers on leveraging technology to enhance the quality of life of individuals with disabilities. Dr. Kuo's contributions include several intervention projects to serve persons with disabilities. Notable examples are the validation of a mobile job coaching application aimed at enhancing workplace performance and a virtual reality meditation program for improving work engagement and mental health outcomes. In addition, Dr. Kuo has worked on projects leveraging video game technology to enhance both physical and psychological health of those with disabilities. He serves as director of the game's Rehabilitation, Education, and Assistive Technology Laboratory, also known as the Great Lab. We also have Minju, a third-year doctoral student in counselor education and supervision program at Michigan State University. He graduated from Hangdong Global University, double majoring in counseling psychology and computer science. He earned his master's degree of science in clinical rehabilitation counseling at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. His research interests entail using games to promote quality of life of transition age youth with autism spectrum disorder. And lastly, we have Kiyo Bin, a second-year doctoral student in the counselor education and supervision program at Michigan State University. She earned her undergraduate degree from the University of Michigan, majoring in psychology with minors in art and design and entrepreneurship, and completed her master's degree in educational counseling at Seoul National University. Her research interests focus on understanding the experiences of marginalized populations, particularly individuals with disabilities, and exploring ways to foster inclusivity and integration within society. Thank you all for being here, and presenters, we are honored to have you join us. And at this point, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ali. And can you all hear me? All right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the introduction. And we are so delighted and excited to share some of the project that we have been working on. And we are so excited about how technology can transform the world and the persons that we are serving. And today on the topic beyond assistive, just a little bit, Ali sort of explained who we are, but I sort of want to explain a little bit of my background. I was the IT personnel, and I have a programming background. And upon my graduation from master's degree in rehabilitation counseling program, I got a job as an assistive technology specialist for a number of years. And through that experience, it really taught me something that technology can go beyond assistive. And as a matter of fact, one of my friend were asking me, why do we have to put assistive in front of technology? Isn't it that technology is supposed to assist us on something, right? So why do we need that kind of label? And that got us thinking about how do we make technology to do more than accommodation, to serve as a vehicle for us to deliver our services and also use it as a training tool. And today we have, I'm gonna stop there and ask my co-presenter if they have anything that they want to introduce themselves more, and before we go ahead and move on. Minju, do you have anything add besides the introduction?
No, no. I mean, Ali already 100%, more than 100% introduced myself. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'm Minju, and I'm third year and doctoral candidate at MSU. I'm really uh, grateful for this opportunity to present our studies and projects ongoing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kyobin, how about you?
Yeah, thank you, Ali, for introducing. And yeah, I'm also excited to share some of our work with you today.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So, with no further ado, let's move on. As Ali sort of mentioned, that we work in the lab together because we are a bunch of very humble people, so we call ourselves the Great Lab. I always joke about this. So the Great Lab really stands for Game, Rehabilitation, Education, and Assistive Technology. So this is sort of the guiding principle that we have, and we don't want us to forget that a lot of time when we talked about rehabilitation intervention, sometimes the treatment adherence is not as good. And how do we make it motivated enough for people to continue to engage in that? And that's when we started looking to the game process. How do we gamify the process, and how do we embed those training in a game? So that's how we started this lab. And here is a QR code. Feel free to scan it, and or the website that you can go to our website, and we update the project that we are working on. And if you are interested in collaborating with us, feel free to contact us. And so today's agenda. So before we go into the actual technology that we use, I want to sort of mention about the Gray Lab in some of the principles that drive the use of technology. As we all know that in the modern world, technology has become, every day there's a new technology coming out, and everybody wants to have this glamorous sort of new technology, the latest, the greatest. But how do we take a step back and then say, technology is to serve the person, not we serve the technology. So there are some guiding principles that we consistently check on to see if we are using the technology in a way that we want it to be, as opposed to, sort of a put the cart in front of the horse kind of thing. And then we will move on to the three examples, the technology that we use in our lab, and some of the projects that we have worked on. The first one will be virtual reality, which Kyobin will be explaining that process or those projects to you. And then Minju will be explaining the video game. And then the third one, I obviously very selfish to leave the most exciting one to myself, the artificial intelligence, the hardest topic in our world right now. So I'll be sharing with you the artificial intelligence project that we are working on, and invite you to think of something that you have in mind, and maybe we can work with you on putting together an AI model that works for you. And then moving on, we will have what's next, what we think we should move forward. So the guiding principles. Again, just to share with you that I think from my experience as assistive technology, when I was an assistive technology specialist, funny enough, I work in a private nonprofit organization as assistive technology specialist, and most of the time that I spent was at Home Depot, try to explore how we can make things work. And at that time, I think a lot of, because we know that assistive technology has to be very individualized, and sometimes off the shelf things that you can purchase all right, but it's not really fitting to the person. So a lot of time you have to customize it. And the way I did it is go to Home Depot and then aisle after aisle try to explore what can be helpful. And again, I just want to emphasize that technology should go beyond accommodation. And also another principle that we think that is important is we need to not take a reactive sort of approach. So when you think of modern technology like your cell phone, your tablet, and even your TV, those kind of technology, a lot of time those technology has this embedded accessibility feature, right? So accessibility feature it's nice, but I think what we need to do is get in the head of those big tech company so that when they design things, the accommodation is not, or assistive tech is not just a patch. It has to be in there when they design it and do research on it. So I currently work with Microsoft. Last year, we worked on this hackathon, try to explore how we can make the technology to meet the requirement or need for every individual. And also, I work with GM, General Motor, on the Zero Barrier project to explore how we can create next generation car that is accessible to people with diverse needs. So I think we should take a proactive, we should get our voice in there as opposed to react to it. That's the principle that we have. Now, ultimately, the principle should be this. It's always human-centered. Again, it's human being that's using the technology, not the other way around. I have seen a lot of people focus a lot on the AI nowadays because it's hot, but really it's the objective, it's the mission that we try to achieve, and then we turn to AI to see how AI can be helpful, as opposed to let's focus on the AI first and then find a problem that AI can solve. So it has to be a problem first or mission first, and then go to the technology. And another thing that we emphasize a lot is safety first. So in today's age, that technology, everything that you put it online, it could come back to haunt you. And we are very careful of that. And I will share with you during the AI examples how we try to ensure that. Now, I mean, a lot of people are including ourselves that we use the chatbot like ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud, those kind of thing. And regardless how much they promise you that your information is secure, but I mean, things leak out. So you got to be careful of how you use that. And I can share with you, I've talked to quite a lot of, whether it's public or private VR, they all have concern of confidentiality. And that is exactly why we use this AI project to demonstrate how you can use it in a safe way. And then moving on is the simplistic approach. We think that technology, again, greatest and latest, latest and greatest is nice. And we all know that technology has multiple functions, just like your cell phone. It can do a lot of things. However, sometimes more things does not equal to good. It actually may confuse people. I remember, I mean, I would turn around to my camera to show you my TV and my stereo system and everything and setup box. I have 5 remote control over there. And there's one day my wife came, I came home from work and my wife was watching TV and with no sound. And I was asking her, "What's going on? Why don't you turn on the sound?" And she got so mad. She was like, "You tell me how to turn on this freaking audio out." And that's exactly the reason. I mean, you have to be simple. If you make it very complicated, people just won't use it at all. And now moving on is scalable. We know that different agencies, they may have different resources and different limitations. And we want to make our approach, whether we're using the technology, the modern technology or whatnot, make it scalable. So if you want to implement in a very bare minimum, you can do it, or you want to expand it to full-blown implementation, you can do that too. And then move on is the sustainability. How do we maintain technology? We know that technology can be helpful and can be nice when it works, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So how do you train people and make it easy enough to maintain that? I think that's important. All right, moving on, I'm gonna give the microphone to Kyobin.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ko. So first, we are moving into the VR technology section, and we have divided into 2 parts. The first part focuses on the VR meditation, and the second part focuses on the VR job simulation. So we will start with the VR meditation. So let's begin by looking at the mental health needs many people face. So mental health issues affect about 25% of the population at some point of their life. And since COVID-19, stress, anxiety, and burnout have been rising worldwide. But at the same time, access to support is very limited, whether because of cost, stigma, or lack of available resources. And that is where mindfulness practices like meditation and breath work come in. There is a strong scientific evidence that meditation reduces stress and anxiety. And it helps with emotional regulation, improves focus, and even supports better sleep and overall well-being. It is also scalable, low cost, and non-invasive, which makes it especially promising for workplace and rehabilitation settings. But as helpful as meditation is, we know something else is true. Could you do the next page, please? Yes, that in the meditation process, most people quit early, and not because meditation doesn't work, but it is difficult to learn and maintain. So many people could say things like, I don't know if I'm doing it right, I don't have the time or space, or it feels boring, or even like it feels like a chore. And when you look at the engagement data, like in this chart, most people drop off within the first few days of trying a meditation. So the retention rates fall dramatically after just the first week. So even though meditation is powerful, we have a big engagement problem. So let's imagine something for a moment. What if meditation felt natural, inviting, and even enjoyable? What if instead of telling people to just close your eyes and imagine a forest, we could actually place them in the middle of a peaceful beach or a quiet forest or beside a lake at sunset? And what if meditation could guide people step by step, helping them learn progressively without any frustration? So with VR, we can build environments that support practices by VR providing immersion without requiring the user's imagination or prior experience. So the VR helps people stay engaged so they can experience the benefits of meditation rather than just giving up after one or two attempts. And this is really the key that VR doesn't replace the meditation, and it opens the door to meditation for people who might otherwise give up before they ever feel how helpful it can be. So with that idea in mind, yes. We have conducted a research focused on people with disabilities in a vocational rehab setting. And in this case, we worked with 23 employees with disabilities in a warehouse setting. The participants completed VR meditation for 5 to 10 minutes a day over 3 days, and we held pre and post intervention assessments. So we can see what happened. As you can see in the results, even with just 3 short VR meditation sessions, we saw clear emotional improvements. So happiness went up while sadness, anger, and anxiety went down. You can also see increases in quietness and mindfulness, showing that the intervention helped participants feel calmer, more focused, and present. And as you can see in this table, work engagement improved as well. So 2 areas shows significant increases, vigor like energy and motivation, and dedication like commitment and involvement to work. And these results suggest that VR meditation not only supports the emotional well-being, but also helps people to feel more engaged.
And I just want to make a comment that remember that this is a very small sample size. We have observed a very good trend going upward for every aspect that we measure. And we also this is a published paper, so if you are interested, you can look into it. We have some qualitative information that shared by these users as well. They thought the rest heartbeats actually drop significantly for them, and they feel more engaged and feel recharge their battery after a long day of work. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So here's the big picture of the study. So first, VR meditation works. It helped people feel calmer, more present, and more engaged at work. Second, we know meditation can be hard to learn. So VR makes it easier by guiding people and placing them in a relaxing environment. And third, environment matters. The more realistic and comfortable the space feels, the better the meditation experience. And fourth, these results are short term, so we still need to study the long term effects to understand how lasting the impact can be. And finally, sustaining motivation is important. We need to think about how to help people keep practicing over time and not just once or twice. So this is the original setup, just chairs, VR headset, and an open warehouse. And with these, you can already begin offering VR meditation or VR job simulation. And this is like the bare minimum, and it still works. But this design might have some challenges like privacy, immersiveness, and people could easily get distracted by noise or movement around them. Now, one of the biggest strengths of VR is scalability. So agencies can start small and grow depending on their resources. So if you have a bit more capacity, you can add some things like steel case pot tent, like in this picture. And it gives people privacy, reduces distraction, and makes the experience more immersive. And if you have even more resources, the experience can expand into full room setup where the environment feels fully intentional and supportive. So scalability could simply mean like VR can be small or large, simple or sophisticated, depending on what you're able to offer. And with the resource, like the full room setup for VR, like in this picture, VR can also support group experiences. So we can say that meditation is a lot like going to the gym. It's easier and more motivating when someone is doing it with you. So VR is typically could be like a solitary activity, but when you have more resources, you can create group-based guided meditation. So it's really about having options. So you can start with just one headset, and as your resources grow, you can expand the experience with like a tent or like full immersive room. Our goal is to show that VR is already available at the basic level, and with more support, it can become even richer and more engaging experience. Now let's move on into the second part, which is the VR job simulation. So first, why does this matter? So in traditional vocational training, people often spend weeks, sometimes months, just learning a job. But here's the problem that sometimes they only realize the job is not a good fit after all that training time. So or on the other hand, some people say no to a job before they even understand what it is really like because they can't picture it. So right now, the main methods we use are job shadowing and job tryouts. But those are like time consuming, not repeatable, and high stakes because the person is already on the job. So what we're trying to address is this question. So how can we help someone truly experience a job before they commit to it? So VR job simulation helps people get a more realistic sense of what a job is actually like. So using a sewing machine work, for example, instead of just watching someone like sew the clothes or assemble the products, you can step inside the experience. You can feel the pressure of the task. You can practice the motions, and you can imagine what it is like to do that job for like 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. And with VR, the experience becomes low cost, repeatable, low risk, and immersive. It allows someone to test the job before investing time in training, and this helps reduce the trial and error we often see when people start a job and later realize that it's not a good fit for them. So here is an example of how we are applying this. We are currently building a VR simulation of sewing tasks in an apparel line. So this video shows that what that experience looks like. So could we see the video, please?
Got it. I got it. Thank you so much. Can you hear now? Okay. So let me pause it here. So in the traditional form of watching people do the job, it's similar like this. You watch on the YouTube and you know what's going on, right? So what's good in this type of video is this. Let's make a little magic here. I can turn it by dragging my mouse. I can turn around, I can see the whole thing. And sometimes, you may be paying attention to this line, I may be paying attention to this part of the machine. So if you allow the 360 in VR world like this, you can repeatedly watch the same video and then figure out where you have to learn more. And as of now, we are putting this in, well, I cannot show you in a VR world, but the setting that we did is we actually loaded in the VR headset. So we use the Meta Quest. We put this video in a VR headset, and you can actually turn your head, turn your neck, lean forward and backward to see different angle and different zoom in or zoom out. What's good in this as well is, you know what? Let me drop this into the chat box so you have it too. I would encourage you to play with this video with your phone. If don't open this link as a browser, but play this using your phone. And your phone has this gyro sensor. Actually, you can turn the phone and see the different angle. So it create this immersive and engaging experience so that the client may more likely to engage in that and actually learn tasks. Currently, I'll stop. Let Kyobin finish her talk. Hold on a second. Let me stop sharing, and I'm gonna share again. Okay.
Okay. So it gives just much more realistic sense of the job before like the training begins. And moving forward, here's how we plan to continue expanding this project. So first, we are creating a growing repository of VR job options, so people can explore different careers before entering the training. And second, we want to test whether VR improves the job confidence or job self-efficacy. And third, we are adding more interactive features so users can practice tasks and not just watching them. And finally, VR can help us identify accommodation needs early before someone starts the real job. So overall, the goal is to let people explore, practice, and prepare in a safe and realistic way long before stepping into the workplace. So using the VR. So now Minju will be talking about the video game technology.
Yeah, before Minju talked about that, I just scroll through some questions that have been posted, and I just want to answer a few. Number one is the cost of the VR. It actually does not cost a lot. I can share with you the MetaQuest. Obviously, Black Friday is coming up. $250 is for MetaQuest, the most modern, the new one. And MetaQuest 3S is $250 right now. And for VR, for shooting the 360 video, we use a camera called Insta360 X4. That one costs around $300. So in total, I mean, you're looking at around $600 to complete the whole thing. The idea for us is how do we build a repository and make it enough and build the library so that in the future people can access it wherever they are to experience it. And to me, I think that's not a high cost project. And another, I think the comment mentioned about the VR, Michigan State University we in our library we have this VR lab, and we actually have the whole room VR. And the Great Lab members, we were there and try to explain experience the whole room experience for meditation and job simulation. I think it has its potential, but in that case, it costs a lot more to implement it. The whole room VR, as far as I know, at least $6,000 to build a more immersive experience. So that in itself is more expensive. But we can talk more about that later. And Minju, now the floor is yours.
All right. So in this section, I would like to highlight why video games are such a very powerful tools, and especially when we look at them through the lens of self-determination theories. So there are 40 or so people here right now, and I think most of you have played a video game more than once in your lives, I believe. So self-determination theory, or SDT, by Lyon and Deci explains that human motivation is strengthened when three basic psychological needs are met. So first one is autonomy, second, competence, and relatedness. So what is fascinating is that video games naturally satisfy all three these components. So for the autonomy, games allows players to choose how, when, and even whether they want to play. So the players is in control of their actions, their space and pace, and also their strategy, which create a strong sense of self-directed engagement. And for the competence, games are designed around challenge, feedback, and skill development. So as players practice and improve they directly experience their growth. And this sense of mastery is key driver of intrinsic motivation, I'll say. And for the relatedness, games can be played alone, but many players engage socially with friends, family, and online communities. So cooperative missions, team-based challenges, and shared achievement, they all build meaningful social connection. So because video games meets these psychological needs so well, so they can be leveraged positively to enhance learning, well-being, and even physical health. Next, please. Yep. So this is also why serious games are widely used in the field of medicine, military, and manufacturing. So when autonomy, competence, and relatedness are activated, players are not just playing, they are running. So video games create authentic running situations where users stay motivated because the experience is enjoyable and self-directed. Research also shows some benefits in perception, attention, cognition, speech skill, and also visual spatial abilities. So in other words, when we design learning environments that borrow from the video game structure itself, we are essentially designing motivation-rich environment based on the SDT. So in addition to running, video games support cognitive growth and emotional regulation, especially for the individuals with disabilities. Games have been used to improve attention, social skills, and problem solving. So game also expose players to to controlled emotional challenges, such as like emotional frustrations, competition, and quick decision making, so which increases emotional awareness and resilience. And again, this ties back to SDT. So when people feel competent, autonomous, while navigating like emotional stimuli, they build stronger coping skills and more greater sense of psychological well-being. And for the exercise and chronic pain. So another important application of video game is, I think, in the area of physical health, obviously. So because video games naturally support intrinsic motivation through the autonomy, competence, and relatedness, they have been successfully adapted into the active video games, also known as exergame. These games create a fun, gamified environment that encourage movement and exercise, making physical activity feel more engaging and accessible. So exercise games are widely used in the occupational and physical therapy for task-specific rehabilitations. And they help improve hand function in detail, upper and lower extremity movement, balance, and overall mobility. So these makes them particularly valuable for individuals who may find traditional exercise routine challenging or less motivating. So, sorry. So they also provide, yes, they also provide opportunity for physical activity, even when people face barriers such as limited time, busy schedules, or social distancing requirement, as we currently experience during the COVID. And also, video games have been shown to be effective tools for pain management during medical procedures such as chemotherapies or physical rehabilitation. Games can redirect attention, reduce anxiety, and provide meaningful and goal-oriented engagement that lowers the perception of pain itself. So altogether, exercise games demonstrate how game-based motivation can be applied to support both physical recovery and also emotional well-being. Esports and inclusive spaces. So beyond the therapeutic uses, video games create inclusive spaces. So spaces where physical and social barriers are minimized. So esports have grown into a global industry, attracting millions of participants and spectators. So importantly, the accessibility of video games allows individuals with a different mobility, sensory, and cognitive needs to participate meaningfully. So when I first encountered computer games 20 years ago in South Korea, I was prone to getting in trouble with my parents every time and being framed as a game addiction. And also a lot of TV and program and also other doctors in the field, they also framed as a video game is addictions. But so I never imagined the esports industry would grow like this in these days. But now I'm really thrilled to be able to grow this commercially and also use it as a rehabilitation services like we have announced now. So what's next? Finally, I want to emphasize how video games can inspire us to gamify learning and treatment more broadly. So we already see this in health devices like Apple Watch like this, and also Fitbit. Users receive badges, medals, and rewards when they meet their goal. And they can also compete and collaborate with friends and family, which boost relatedness and motivation. So when we apply these same principles in counseling and rehabilitation or health services, we make participation more engaging and more consistent and more autonomous. So by integrating goal setting, feedback loop, and also progress tracking and social support, we are essentially building systems that align perfectly with SDT. And players may have access to some games, but often lack of common spaces or the hardware and infrastructure to support a variety of play styles with others, which is another concerns from the one of our studies that just published. But single player coach co-op and in-person one-on-one, online multiplayer, and so on is the examples of play style and inclusive and adaptive space could meet. So overall, video games are not just entertainment. So, and they provide a natural alignment with the core psychological needs that drives human motivation. So by understanding and also using these principles, we can design stronger learning environments, therapeutic intervention, and also inclusive spaces that truly enhance well-being. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to the AI.
Okay, thank you, Minju. I think I want to emphasize two things that why we engage in video game technology. Our mission really is twofold. Number one is we feel like video technology is untapped resource that for rehabilitation field. It has a lot of potential. The thing that we are trying to do eventually is combine virtual reality and video game technology. So how do we train the persons on the job without putting the person on the job? Using VR simulation and using video game simulation. So you can operate a sewing machine without actually using a sewing machine. So think about that. We have trained people drive a forklift truck in a VR world using a 100% mimicking the actual forklift truck controlling, and that has been proven quite really helpful. So number one, we are trying to tap into this type of new technology that is not being leveraged enough. That's our number one job mission. Number two mission for video game technology is we want to also get in ahead of this video game designers' head. How do they design video game that is safe and accessible to persons with disability? We last year we had a chance to talk to Unreal Engine folks who's the designer for engine for designing video game, and we try to make the whole process accessible, make the accessible feature more, you know, universal design, not just accommodation, not just accessibility. It's we try to put in their head universal design. How do we incorporate that in the video game technology, so that as we move forward, evolving our technology, people with disability is not left behind. So that's sort of our mission, why we leverage that. And now moving on for the I don't have much time, but AI. So moving on to the AI project. So again, we earlier we talked about the principles about using technology, and this is one of the examples why we think about the problem first and then incorporate with the technology. So this is how things started. So we were working with one of a private nonprofit organization, and they were thinking about their clients. Sometimes the client they serve, they put on a job and just realize that this is not a good fit, as Kobe mentioned earlier. And we started to think about, how do we cut down the time of try and error? And we started to think maybe we can do some assessment and low stake assessment and to enhance their self-understanding, not just of their career interest, their work motivation, their work personality, and also their learning style. So they get to talk to their case manager in a way that is more effective and let the practitioner know that how you can best train me in a way that I like to learn. So we started this project by, the design was we implement these low stake assessment online for them to take, and then we after the calculation, the result. This is very typical for a survey. You gather the raw data, you score them, and then you start to write a report, and then we sit down one-on-one with each individual to explain the result, and then we ask them whether it's helpful to them, this process. So we measure self-efficacy, and we also solicit some qualitative information, whether they agree with the result or they disagree with the result. And for the sake of time, I want to quickly walk through this for you. The positive result that we got is actually that process helped them to understand themselves, and they feel like they are more equipped to work. And you can see that this, by the way, this result is only 13 individuals that walk through this. So as you can see, even with a very small sample size, we got a pretty good result, and everything is going toward the right trend that is improving their self-efficacy. And so what happened is after we got these positive result, we got so excited and we share with the CRP community rehab programs. We share with them. We are excited and we want to work with them to continue to implement this type of assessment and counseling session or result interpretation session with them. And what we got is the practitioners are overwhelmed by what their daily jobs, works, tasks. And the comment that we got is the last thing that we want to do is put one more thing on our plate. We cannot afford to do that. So we started to think about, hey, so how do we do it in a way that is not overly burden them, and while we can implement it and then it can run automatically. So that's when we start to look into how do we leverage AI in this case. And well, we don't have time for this, but I want to, this is quickly how does the AI work? And I checked on the ARCA webinar website. Actually, there are lots of sessions talk about AI, the architecture of AI. So I don't want to spend time on this, but I'm going to assume that we all have experience with ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude kind of thing, the chat bot that you ask the questions and the AI respond to the questions. And the way it works is the AI will calculate the probability of the next word. So for example, if you say, I have to go buy some groceries, so I should head to blank. And the AI will generate the next word by probability. And in this case, the AI may generate as, for example, like Kroger, like Walmart, like, I don't know, Home Depot. But obviously Home Depot's percentage, the probability is much lower than, say, Kroger or Trader Joe's. So in this case, the AI will throw you the most likely, the likelihood is the highest of the next word. It will not throw you a Home Depot, for example, like that. So that's the large language model that we are all very familiar with. Now, the question is, it's not good enough. When you think about this AI large language model, it all stay in the chat. So you can chat with it. It will respond to your query. But what we want to do is more than that. We want AI to help us automate the process. So a quick example here is this. How do we make AI become an agent as opposed to just a chatbot? So compared to chatbot, think of a GPS app. GPS, you tell the GPS where you want to go, and the GPS generate the direction for you. Now, the agent does not only do that. The agent will, you can say to the agent that, you know what, next month I want to make a trip to, let's say, Hawaii. And the AI agent will be able to, first of all, check the weather, check the flight, book the flight for you, put it on your calendar, and order a taxi or Uber, call the Uber. So all these things, you think about this, all these things require some tools. So you need to have Uber tools given to the AI. You need to have your calendar, and you need to let AI will be able to check the weather.com's weather, and then AI can connect your account to purchase the ticket and put them all together. So that's the agentic AI or AI agent that we are trying to leverage. So in this case, we don't want to just have chatting with AI. We want AI to help us implement the assessment, score the assessment, explain the assessment, and then allow our client to chat with the AI according to their result. I want to show you again. let me stop and share again. Where is my here? Okay, I need to. So this is a little demonstration. Bear with me. I'm not a YouTuber. I cannot create a great video. This is very bare minimum. So let me walk you through the AI that we built. So this is assessment. And it can be on computer, and this is very typical in Qualtrics. So the assessment, the client can scroll through, and it can be also on a smartphone. You can scroll through and answer questions, and you click, and answer the questions. And now after the assessment complete, it takes you to 100%. You completed. Thank you. We will be in contact. And the raw data, when you download it from, let's say, the online survey system, it's like that. So question number 4, the client answered 2, question 5, 2, and so on and so forth. So this is an Excel sheet. So how do we get the raw data and ask AI to score for us? So we actually use this open source automation process software called NAN, and we built in our internal server. So everything that I'm showing you right now using AI is in-house. We can disconnect the internet and continue to use AI completely. So with that being said, the AI becomes so safe. Nothing goes out. It's always stay in-house. So let me show you this. This is the NAN, the AI bot or agent that we built. So I want to show you this. You can see that I highlighted. It says local host, meaning that it's completely local. Nothing goes to internet. And what you see here, every bubble here is automation process. So this on the form submitted basically is when you click, and then you can submit the raw data to the AI. I can also make this process automatic. So when you can see that this is in the real time. This is in the real time. The AI extract the data and go to the AI and make it process with the model. The model also is in-house model and process the AI. And we train the AI according to the assessment manual so that it can score based on what the manual says. And then the AI process and then export it. I asked it to export it to Google Form. Obviously, if you want to export it to a local machine, you can do that. But if you are export the record to the Google, then you will need to have internet. But you don't have to do that. You can put it in a local computer. So here's the report generated by AI. So here, Amy Boats, obviously this is a pseudonym, and it shows you MBTI. So give you some the result and also some description of who you are. And we also did a Holland interest test, give you the result and show you the result and some description and then the learning style. Now, what we try to do is, okay, generating the result is not enough. We also want to replace the result explanation session. So what we did is we implement a system called the RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. Basically, this is what it is. So I don't know how many times you experience that AI just randomly answer your question without any ground. So what happened is my student like to sort of describe AI as very enthusiastic college students. When you ask the question, they just throw you randomly. And sometimes it's not necessarily true. And in AI's world, it's called hallucination. Basically, it's just tell you a random answer. So the rack system, on the other hand, is it's a backup for, it's a patch for this hallucination. What it does is you ask AI before AI answer my question, please check the database that I created for you. And you will answer all my query based on the data set that I provided to you. So what I did is I feed all the assessment result and explanation into the AI rack system. So later on, when the client engage or case manager engage with the AI asking questions based on the AI will respond based on the data set. Let me show you here how it works. So you can see that we finished that part, and then moving on, I asked the AI to extract and put all this information into the rack system. This is where I built the rack. And now it's going to, now this is very typical, the chatbot that like ChatGPT or Gemini. But now this is based on the rack system that I just built. And you can see that I asked, tell me about Amy's assessment result. And the AI started to run. And again, I'm showing you this. This is all run internally. And you can see that the AI explained the result. And here's the bigger. Let me post it here so you can see it. Okay. And then we don't want to just do that. We want to do even more. Let's ask a question about the job fit. So I asked the AI, there's an opening as an accountant. Who would be a good fit? With all the data set that I have, I asked it. So the AI started to generate the answer. So in my data set, there's Amy, there's a Bill, and you can see that based on the assessment, Amy appeared to be a better fit, and it actually analyzed each one of them to tell you who may be a better fit in this case. And our thinking is not to use AI to replace the case manager, but this will serve a good start for case manager to see, oh, okay, there's a new job opportunity there. In my caseload, who would be a better fit here? And now I want to show you the one last thing here. What if we throw a curveball to the AI? And just to show you the hallucination. So I asked it, who would be a better basketball player? Obviously, I did not, in my assessment, it did not say that, right? So I asked it, and it's what does he say? It seems like that the information in the database does not directly answer your question. So in this case, our AI does not hallucinate at all. It actually provides the right answer based on the data set. Okay, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint here. Okay, so the thing that we are thinking, because I've talked to a lot of public and private VR, they are very hesitant to use AI because of confidentiality and safety reasons. And that's why we started looking to how do we build easy built AI model that can run in-house. And I can share with you that all these AI that I run, it's on my MacBook Pro, and it's not a very expensive machine. It's very bare minimum. And obviously, if you want to spend more, you can afford to more. You can afford to have a more sophisticated model. And other applications that we are working on right now, including job development, employer outreach, and we also are training our AI to do benefit consultation. So we all know that our clients sometimes they were hesitant to get a full-time job because of SSDI or SSI benefit. How do we make that easier so you can chat with chatbot? And obviously the assistive technology recommendation, we can use the AI to do that too. All right, the conclusion. The technology should serve human growth, as we mentioned earlier, and it should not replace a human being. Our mentality is this: AI should save your time so that you can do more important things. AI is not to replace you at all. And again, mission first. In all the three cases, use cases that we present you, we always ask why first. Why do we want to do this? And then next thing is Murphy's Law. Always build contingency plan. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong, especially technology. So don't overly rely on the technology. And we want to, that's why we started thinking to how do we make it sustainable and how do we make it scalable based on each agency's need. And lastly, I want to share with you the principle and or the model that guided our lab. No wish is too big and no detail is too small. So here is where we really want to invite you to explore your problem with us. We have the technology expertise, and we want to explore the solution with you. And then the last thing, we always say this: question what you learn and learn everything that you question. So we will try to explore, find questions, and then we will learn from there. And last, I'm sorry, I'm rushing through. I know that the time. I'm being respectful of your time. So here's our website, and feel free to contact us. We invite you to explore the problem with us. And I think that's it. And I'm gonna stop sharing here. And at this time, we welcome for questions.